We're back with another episode of Mac Stories Unwind. Today's episode is brought to you by Fastminder. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is Federico Vitici. Hey, Federico.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I have two words for you, Federico.
Okay.
Peanut butter. Okay?
That's scary. Is it about iCloud?
No, this has nothing to do with iCloud.
It's not about your grocery shopping list and reminders being peanut butter, butter, peanut bread?
Yep,
No?
yep. This is a very old reference to
Yes.
a Connected episode. And when I was having bugs in my reminders, and it turns out that was a third-party app that will not be named that was integrating with reminders and was causing the problem and not reminders itself. So I will absolve Apple of that. But before we recorded a lot today, and in between episodes we were recording, I grabbed a sandwich and I made myself a peanut butter sandwich. And I thought, you know what? They're not into peanut butter the way they are here in Europe. And I wanted to ask Federico about that. So Federico, how many peanut butter sandwiches have you ever had in your life?
0?
That's what I was going to say. Would you know where to go get peanut butter if you wanted to?
Oh, yeah. No. It's sold everywhere.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. No. Not just personally, I just don't like it. I like it like in just a taste, like just a little spoon of it, not a whole sandwich.
Yeah.
Also, like, I don't know, I'm not super into the idea of a sandwich that tastes like peanut butter, in general.
I'm not a big peanut butter sandwich person either, but I was just grabbing something really quick and it came, the thought crossed my mind. I will tell you, here's one. This is, in Ruminate, Rob Knight and I talk about snacks a lot. And we talk about strange snacks that we've come across, which is a whole nother category of things I buy for work that no one would ever understand because I go to the grocery store and buy weird potato chips and it's like a business expense. But we talk about weird snacks there. And this is a little bit like that. And that I will give you a recommendation, which is an English muffin with a little peanut butter on it and some honey. Very good breakfast. Little protein, little sweet. It's pretty good. I know that you're not convinced. I didn't think I would be able to convince you, but I thought I'd try it out on you anyway.
Did you think you could convince me?
No, if I really wanted to convince you, I would. I know how to convince you of things. It's not like this. This might be where it would start, but I have to try to wear you down over a very long period of time. And I don't have, my heart's not in it with peanut butter. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah. I don't know how to comment, honestly.
Phoebe Bridgers, I worked on you for that with Phoebe Bridgers for a solid year. Finally, you came around.
That's true. Yeah. Then I started listening to Boy Genius and they split up. So that's what happened.
That's your fault.
No, it's not. It's your fault. So there's been this thing in our notes for the past few weeks, and I'm going to quote, John found the limits of tech testing that he will do in public. Oh. What have you done?
Well, I'm not a person who likes to flaunt tech in public, I guess. And like, for instance, I would not wear the Vision Pro on an airplane. Just saying that right now. I wouldn't wear it. I wouldn't walk down the street wearing it either. It's just not, I don't want to draw that amount of attention to myself. And I've been testing this new 360-degree camera from Insta360 called the H4. And one of the accessories that they sell is a vest that you can screw. Yes, it's a vest. It's a vest with Velcro straps. And it has a plate right in the middle of the chest with it's like a plastic plate. And it has a little attachment to it where you can screw on the camera because it has a 1/4-inch screw hole on the bottom like a lot of camera devices do. And so you can screw the camera onto your vest on your chest and you can wear it while you do your action sports because it's a little bit like, a GoPro or something like that. And so I thought they sent me this camera to test out. And they sent me the vest. I thought, I'm going to go for a jog and I'm going to wear my camera down the street. I got to the end of the block and I was like, I was already mortified. I just turned around and brought it back home and put it away. I just couldn't bring myself to wear a camera while I was running. Plus, a nylon vest with a big plastic plate on the chest is not the most comfortable thing in the hot summer weather.
So a vest that lets you attach the camera to a plate in the middle of the vest.
Yes, yes. So
That was something that you briefly considered as an option.
yes, I did. I thought it would make for some good clicks.
How can I Google this? Insta 360 vest? Is that what
Yeah,
I'm
let me
supposed to look
see.
for?
Yeah, it's
Oh my God.
did you find it?
Yeah, I think I did.
It's pretty. Yeah, you did find it. I just did it myself. It's just like straps that go over your shoulders and around the middle of your chest that are Velcro and have like these quick release buckles. And then in the middle, there's a big piece of plastic and the camera attaches to those. Now the camera, like separate and apart from this, you can use the camera with a selfie stick. You can mount it on a bicycle. You can mount it on a boat. You can do all kinds of different stuff with it. But
I'm just gonna say it. This looks like a body cam that a police officer would wear.
It does look a
US.
little bit like that. It does look a little, it just looks bizarre. Like, so
Yeah.
I didn't, a selfie stick draws enough attention to you, let alone a vest that has a camera attached to it. I was going to do it, when no one was really around, but I decided not to. So that's the limit. That's the
Okay.
limit right there. That's one limit we can put on me. I'm not gonna wear the Vision Pro on a plane, and I'm not gonna wear a nylon vest with a camera attached to it.
Okay. In less particular things,
I know
I'm
that's very
trying Spotify.
specific.
I'm trying Spotify again. This is my very very simple thing.
Every 2 years, you try Spotify.
Every 2 years I do, and it's always for the same reason. And I think I've reached a point with my feelings about Apple services and just music discovery in general. I think this time I will stick.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've had that experience again where I just use Spotify for a couple of days, and then the service immediately recommended to me a stunningly beautiful song that I fell in love with. And I realized, I asked myself, when's the last time Apple Music made you feel this way? And the answer was, I don't know, probably never. And the thing that I like about the way I still enjoy music is that I still enjoy music. That sounds obvious, but in the sense that I hear from people sometimes like, oh no, I'm 35, I'm 40, my music tastes are done. I just want to listen to the stuff I enjoyed in high school. I don't care about discovering music anymore. I'm not like that.
Right.
I'm still curious. I still want to discover stuff. I still want to try weird, unexpected things. And Apple Music it has gotten better. It's got a much better UI than Spotify. It's kind of ridiculous. On Apple platforms, it's much more integrated. I'm not saying that Apple Music as an experience is bad. I'm saying that in particular for music discovery, even if the Spotify UI sucks, even if I don't like that the podcast integration is shoved down your throat when you open the app, even though I dislike many things that Spotify as a company has done, when it just comes to the music discovery, man, it's good. It's very, very good. And I feel that especially with all these DMA related changes, I will have an easier time using Spotify as a European citizen than in previous years. And I think I've been using it for the past 10 days or so.
Uh-huh.
And I've listened to a lot of music and I've discovered a lot of things. And ultimately, that's what matters, And maybe this will be another experiment. Maybe, in 6 months, I will be, no, thanks. I'll go back to Apple Music. But this is why we mention these things. We talk about these experiments. We try them for a while, and then maybe they stick, maybe they don't.
That's a good experiment to do. I mean, I think of Apple Music more as a catalog than as a discovery machine. I think that's kind of the difference with Spotify. It's like going to the library and pulling a CD off a shelf or something. In that sense, you can find stuff, but discovery's just it still feels like a bit of an afterthought. And maybe it'll get better someday, but it isn't great. And I did have this thought the other day that I had listened to a lot less music in 2024 than in past years.
That was also part of that for me. Like,
really, yeah, because I was
that
wondering why it was that I was listening
Yeah.
to less. I mean, I think it's because I'm
Seeing-
discovering less this year.
Yes, I got that exact report with Apple Music. What's it called? Apple Music. The annual thing.
Yeah, the replay.
The replay. I got that from replay. I was like, hold on. I listened to less music, and it's like, it's possibly also a matter of friction. The fact that Spotify, even if you don't like it, you gotta hand it to them. It's fast. Search is really fast,
Yep.
and they have the listening history. They have the recommendations on the homepage. So like, I don't like that I'm not discovering enough music and that I'm listening to less music. So I'm gonna try this. And plus, there's also the fact that, like, I mean, let's face it, iPhone users in Europe, people who have my opinions about these things now, it kind of feels like using these alternative services now, it kind of feels like sticking it to the man,
Yeah, it does.
It kind of feels like that.
Yeah,
So it's nice from that point of view.
Yeah, no, I get it. And you know what? One of the things about Apple Music that doesn't work particularly well either, and this is one of my, well, we'll save it for the Mac OS Sequoia review, but the other night you recommended an album to me that is your pick this week, and I listened to it right away. I queued it up on my phone and I airplayed it to my HomePods and listened to it while I was relaxing in the evening. And then I went down to my office the next day, opened up music on my Mac, and it should have showed up there as the most recently played thing because I hadn't listened to any music while I was sleeping and it wasn't there. And I don't really understand how it is that stuff doesn't always show up in those recently listened to things. And it's a small thing, but it's one of those things where I could have very easily forgotten about that album, having listened to it once and not having seen it shown up in my recents right away and never listened to it again. This episode of Mac Stories Unwind is brought to you by Fastminder. Fastminder is a simple, clutter-free, and straight-to-the-point fasting tracker. One of the greatest strengths of this app is its emphasis on progress tracking. See and learn about the fasting stage you're in every step of the way. You can also create a custom plan, track hydration and weight, both of which sync to HealthKit. Plus, Fastminder supports solar fasting mode, which is perfect for Ramadan. The app includes advanced stats and insights and is fully customizable with color themes, home screen widgets, and more. It can even perform sleep analysis, track your body mass index, and includes a simple BMI calculator. Plus, it can import fasts from zero. Of course, Fastminder also supports the latest Apple technologies, like live activities, so you can view your progress right on your lock screen, and widgets, which can include a timer right on your home screen. Also, as part of a Premium Plus bundle, which is a very affordable yearly subscription, you can get access to more than 10 apps for one low price. Visit funmedia.com today to learn more. That's FUNNMEDIA.com to learn more, or use the link in the show notes to go straight to the App Store and download this terrific intermittent fasting app from Fun Media, the developers behind other successful health and fitness apps like Waterminder, Calorie, and Fitness View. Our thanks to Fastminder and Fun Media for their support of the show.
Well, that said, do you have any picks for me?
I do. I have a movie pick. I watched Mad Max Furiosa last weekend.
Ooh, okay.
Oh my, this is a good movie, Federico. My history with the Mad Max series goes all the way back to the original, which was a 1979 film starring Mel Gibson, who's kind of gone off the deep end in his later years in life, but he was in the first several movies. That movie was a very low budget movie that was shot in Australia, and they had such thick Australian accents that it was very hard to follow, but it was a very good, gritty movie. And over the years, it's had its ups and downs as a series, but I think the latest iterations have been particularly good. And this one is starring Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth, and it's a prequel to the one that came out, Fury Road, a few years ago, where it follows the character Furiosa and how she became who she is. became a road warrior. And it's about her as a young girl getting abducted by some bikers in this kind of post-apocalyptic world, growing up amongst these people, and then her story about trying to get back home to her family, because when the movie opens, she's in this kind of idyllic environment, very green, very lush, very nice, and they're trying to protect this environment because most of the world is a wasteland, but they've got all these plants and vegetables they're growing and this community that's hidden away. And she leaves that, ends up in the vast wasteland, and spends her life trying to get back to it. So it's about her. It's about Chris Helmsworth, who plays one of the warlords that's controlling a part of the world, and the fights between these different factions. And it's just done with incredible. I mean, Fury Road was like one long car chase with really cool post-apocalyptic vibes. This one, it has a lot of that, but it also has, I think, a really fantastic story. And what's really unfortunate is that this movie didn't do very well at the box office. It came out earlier this year. It's available to stream free right now on Max, as well as rent in various places. But it's one of the best movies I've seen in quite a while. So highly recommended.
Nice. Very nice. I wanted to mention 2 music albums that I've really enjoyed over the past week. The first one is the new country album by Post Malone. Now, you may have heard of Post Malone before as a massive rapper, pop star.
Yep.
I've always liked the guy. I think he's got a great voice, and I think it's just, reading interviews and profiles on Post Malone, it just sounds like a very likable person who other musicians love to collaborate with him.
Super interesting person, I think.
Very interesting person with an incredible knowledge of music history, it sounds like. And Post Malone, for the past couple of years, has sort of changed his life since he's had a daughter in 2022, and sort of approached the country scene in Nashville and created and released this music album that is a country album called F1 Trillion that is absolutely filled with superstars. I mean, we're talking the likes of I don't know, are you familiar? Do you like country, John?
Well, this is a good question because I generally do not, but I do like a very narrow band of country, and I really like this album.
I mean, you must know Dolly Parton, I guess.
Yes, I do know Dolly Parton, yes.
Okay. But we're also talking there's only 3 songs on this record that is just Post Malone on his own. Otherwise, it's collaborating with the likes of Blake Shelton, of Chris Stapleton, who I really like, Luke Combs, who I also like. And this song from, all 18 tracks, and I think there's going to be a bonus version at some point. Right. All 18 tracks are absolute bangers. Like, all of them are just so... And I was reading this profile on the New York Times. Like, this is not just a commercial grab, sort of like Post Malone trying to culturally appropriate country music. The New York Times interviewed all of these artists and session players who worked on this album, and all of them were like, "No, you don't get it. This guy is actually the real deal. He actually believes in this turn of his career, and he's like really, really committed."
I would call it very traditional country, which is the kind of country that kind of traditional in the old school sense, I guess, because that's the kind of country that I do like a fair amount. And that's why this album struck a chord with me.
Yeah, trust me, give it a listen. Don't go in thinking, "No, this is the trapper who's doing the commercially easy thing and approaching country music now." Listen to this album, read that New York Times article, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. Another album that so far, we're talking about our albums of the year toward the end of the year, obviously. One of my contenders so far is the new Charlie Bliss album. Oh, yeah.
So good.
Forever. Charlie Bliss is their 3rd album. It's an indie pop, synth wave pop band we've mentioned before on Unwind. They have their 3rd record out, and I think it's their best one yet. And what I love about this album, it's how it combines this, obviously this very bright, very pop, synth wavy sound with guitars.
Yep.
How it's more indie rock than ever from that perspective, but also how lyrically, how they approach these conflicting themes of growing up, but also retaining your youth and retaining even the things where you messed up and how they made you who you are. How do you reconcile those with the fact that you're maybe about to turn 30 and growing up and having responsibilities? How can those opposing sides sort of coexist within the same person? I think it makes each song really interesting, and I would highly recommend also give this one a listen, especially if you like bands like Churches, for example, right?
Yeah,
along
definitely.
along similar lines, but maybe more indie rocky in this album. Give it a listen. It's called Forever by Charlie Bliss, a band from Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's right. And yeah, I love the themes in this album. And I think that they did a Tiny Desk concert for NPR at one point that's worth looking up, because that's very good too. All right, Federico, that's it for another episode of Mac Stories Unwind. You can find the two of us over at macstories.net. You can find us on Mastodon too. Just go to vitici.macstories.net and johnvorhees.macstories.net to follow us there. Plus, Federico is on Instagram, and he is on Threads, where he is at Vitici. That's VITICCI. And I'm at John Voorhees. JOHNVOORHEES. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.